to direction on the page, where we look at how the screenwriter uses specific directions, camera angles, camera instructions, editing instructions, and see how they do it, because it is a hotly debated topic among screenwriters, especially emerging screenwriters who want to focus on these rules. But what we see is that a lot of screenwriters do put some sort of direction on the page. Obviously, if you can write cinematically and not be so mechanical, makes for a better read. We can all agree on that. But sometimes you just want to be very specific about what you see in your head and how you envision it. And as a director, how you're going to direct it, or also if you're passing it off to a director, like in this case, how you would suggest that they consider doing it. And I was a little surprised by this one because, as many of us have done, years ago, I took the Aaron Sorkin masterclass of screenwriting, and some really good nuggets in there. Appreciated taking that class. And I remembered specifically him talking about just absolutely do not use direction on the page. And I was wondering if I misremembered that. So I went and looked it up again. Now you can find some of this stuff online. And I was specifically wondering about the we see, because, you've got the we see, we hear, we follow, those. And I was wondering, okay, maybe I misremembered. He wasn't specifically talking about that. But he says in his masterclass, I looked it up, he says that we see is unnecessary clutter. By the nature of the medium, all action lines describe what the audience sees. Everything is what we see. Don't do it. It's redundant. It's a waste. So that was exactly what he said in his masterclass. So you know it's coming, right? A lot of we sees in this screenplay. Over 20 times he says we see, and then on top of that we have lots of we follow and we are, and then also us, to us, from us, being specific about us as the camera. We see lots of examples of that here on 45, plus on 42, and actually throughout the screenplay. And also he has lots of specific references to framing and cameras. On 52, we get a very specific reference to the camera. It says the camera surveys the scene as Mark slips through some functions to show Edward, and we see things that are now familiar: a photo, sex, a profile, a list of attributes, a poke application. You remember that on Facebook, the poke? I never knew what to do with that. On 148, we get an example of how he's talking about specifically the frame of the shot. We have here, it says, as Eduardo reads, we rack focus, that's very specific, to Mark, who is sitting at a computer with his back to Eduardo, focused on the work. And then we see Sean step into the frame and lean against the desk a few yards away. And then back to Eduardo, who's almost shaking. So he is orchestrating here exactly how he wants the shot to look on the movie. We also get a couple of push, pulls, pans on 56. It says he starts quickly scrolling and reading it, and we push in on his face as the blood starts draining away. So I know I'll get in the comments that Sorkin wasn't talking about him, the established screenwriter. He was talking about people taking the class, the emerging screenwriter. I rebuke that. This whole argument about that some people can do one thing, but if you're trying to break in the industry, you can't do that. But anyway, that's for you guys to debate. I like to provide the information. Now to the writing of this screenplay.